What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video. In this video, I wanted to talk about Battlefield 5 and the state that it's in. And of course, the game hasn't come out, but you've heard so many things, and most of them have been negative. And this all started, there was an article that came out recently, and there's been a bunch of videos done on it, talking about Battlefield 5's low pre-order numbers, especially when comparing it to this year's Call of Duty Black Ops 4, the more recent Battlefields like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4. The pre-orders have definitely been lower than those games, and I'll be the first to tell you, I'll encourage people not to pre-order games, especially from these big companies like your EA, like your Ubisoft, like your Activision, just because this generation, more so than any other, we've been getting games that with hollow promises, where games don't work, features are missing, unpolished games. We've been getting that this generation, and I would encourage people not to pre-order, to be like, yeah, fix these problems. I'll wait till you fix these problems or have these problems fixed. Then I'll probably buy your game later. But until then, I'm not pre-ordering your games. So I would definitely encourage people to, because these companies don't care about you and your wallet. Your wallet, that's what you talk with. Words don't really mean anything in terms of from the fans. But your wallet, you're a dollar sign to them. But where this all started, I guess get into a little history of it. I also have a couple of quotes that I wanted to talk about. You probably already heard them, but they're from some of the higher ups in DICE and EA. But like this whole thing has nothing to do with the actual game, gameplay for Battlefield 5. There's a little bit there. One thing I'll say, it's kind of been poorly advertised especially in terms of previous, like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4. It's been poorly advertised. Like I said, you got the gameplay on YouTube, but this initial reveal with Trevor Noah was awful. It was awful. They tried to do some comedy skit. People just want to hear details about the game. They want to see gameplay. They want to see what you changed in terms of, gameplay changes. Like, I literally had to look at a video to find out gameplay changes. And there was a guy who he knew a lot. I assume he was right. He was talking about all the gameplay changes and stuff like that. I was like, why wasn't there something really focused on that? You look at a lot of these presentations and they weren't that good. EA at E3, garbage. For one, you probably fell asleep from all the sports shit. But yeah, it's been poorly advertised. It's a Battlefield game, and they figure it's Battlefield. People are gonna get it, but you gotta tell people what you're gonna change, and combine that with having the PR nightmare that they had with everything, especially with the earlier trailers of the game. It doesn't help that you're not showing, you're not giving much details from your mouth about the game. But I want to talk about what some of the higher ups said. Starting with he's one of the design directors, Alan Kurtz. He had a quote, and this one's funny. It was not as bad as the next guy. I knew it was going to be a fight when I pushed for female soldiers in Battlefield, so that was the whole thing with Battlefield. When people had a problem with the female soldiers, especially the way the trailer kind of depicted as she was like being this kind of like super soldier, and it's like a battle. They were going through like a house or whatever. I believe that was the first trailer. I think it was like a multiplayer trailer, something like that. But she had the prosthetic arm. People didn't really like that, and I do remember someone. I don't think it's one of these quotes where a guy said there were like a ton of women in World War II, which is wrong. That's just not to say women weren't there, but a ton. Like 99% of the combatants in World War II were men. Somewhere hovering around that high 90%, 90-something percent, they were men. So to say there were a ton of women is wrong. But anyway, to continue, he said, I have a daughter, and I don't want to ever have to answer her question of why can't I make a character that looks like me. Because you're a girl, fundamentally feel to my core, this is the right way. and I will find myself on the right side of history. What? The right side of history? Okay. See, and this is one of the things, and like I said, this one isn't, it sounds pretty bad, but this one isn't bad as the next guy, who, I guess he had a brain fart, or he got someone else to write it for him, or whatever. But I believe they came out and said it's supposed to be like alternative history, but then he said going to be on the right side of history. Was he referring to him being right in terms of the game itself, or what they put into the game? Or I guess people liking it even despite the changes. Well, I don't know. I don't know. But if you notice with a lot of these guys, especially with a lot of these big games or big IPs, the arrogance. But I'm gonna talk about that. Let's go to the next quote. Like I said, you've probably already seen all of these. Like I said, they've been out and they've been a reason why. I honestly say more so than the actual women being in the game, these quotes from these guys have pissed fans off more. But Patrick Sutherland, what was his job? He was really high up. Chief Design Officer. By the way, he's gone. He's not at EA anymore. Probably some kind of forced resignation to kind of so he can keep his reputation intact or whatever. But he's also been behind Battlefront 2, and we knew that game was a complete disaster. Honestly, the way they handled it, it started. Lawmakers got involved with the whole loot box thing. It was terrible. He lost them a lot of money, and he's gonna lose them a lot of money with this game. Sometimes you just gotta. It's a PR thing. You gotta know what to say. Honestly, they could have came out with some canned PR stuff, and it would have went over much better than this trash that he said. But let's see. What did he say? He gave an example. I have a 13-year-old daughter that when the trailer came out, she saw all the flack. She asked me, "Dad, why is this happening?" He continues. She plays Fortnite and says, "I can be a girl in Fortnite. Why are people so upset about this?" I just said, you know what? You're right. This is not okay. These are people who are uneducated. So he called people stupid. He called the fans stupid who had a problem with some things, and it was not only just female. There were people who had problems with other aspects, especially after learning the details. Female one was the biggest one, and people had a problem with it. They voiced legit concerns. They look at that vocal minority who were super pissed. They may not like women or whatever, but there are people who have legit complaints. But they were never up before this quote. They were never so pissed off at them to where they was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna get the game." But he said that these people who are uneducated, they don't understand that this is a plausible scenario. He called them stupid. That's all that people are going to get out of that statement. And I've seen it quoted in videos. That's all they got was he called them people who had a problem with things that they're putting in the game uneducated. And if you want to teach your daughter history, teach her the real history. Open a fucking book. Teach her the real history. But he continues on to say, and this one's bad too. Listen, this is a game, and today gaming is gender diverse, like it hasn't been before. There are a lot of female people who want to play, and male players who want to play as a badass woman, and we don't take any flack. We stand up for the cause because I think those who don't understand it, well, you have two choices: either accept it or don't buy the game. I'm fine with either or. It's just not okay. With that statement, he lost them a lot of money because people saw this. He called us stupid. He told us not to buy the game. The arrogance with this guy, with a lot of these guys, in EA, pertaining to his game, or just EA, period. EA's the arrogance. They don't look at that. The fans are the ones who support these games. Without the fans, you are nothing. And people have to understand that without your money, without you staying loyal to these companies, to these gaming franchises. I would say more so gaming franchises than companies, because Battlefield is one of my favorite games. Battlefield 3 is my favorite Battlefield game. Played the hell out of it. But when you have guys that come out, learn from any dev, learn from what this guy did. Do not come out and say stuff like that. If fans disagree with you, you try to have a civil discourse with them. You know, there are going to always be people who say, you know, terrible, trolly things. So what? You come out and say this, you're alienating the entire fan base, calling those who disagree with aspects of your game uneducated, telling them, well, you either got to accept it or don't buy the game. Now, you could be thinking that, but to come out and say it, you don't do it. Because you know what'll happen? People probably won't buy the game. Now, there's a beta that comes out September 7th, I believe. I think it got announced recently. I will get that. I will upload video, you know, kind of talking about the gameplay. I'm gonna be as objective as, you know, as I usually am. Like I said, Battlefield's still one of my favorite first-person shooter franchises. So I will definitely do talk about the beta when that comes out. It's gonna be an open beta, I believe September 7th. I will come out with a video talking about it. But let me know what you think down in the comment section, man. These guys are arrogant as hell, man. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.